What is going on, YouTube? Welcome to the Living Freed channel. My name is Tyler Freed, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about how you can get rich in a highly competitive industry, and specifically how I'm building wealth in a very competitive, oversaturated industry. Why am I making this video? Well, because I got a comment on one of my last videos. I think it was the last one, either the last one or the one before that, where somebody said trucking's a bad business. It's an oversaturated industry. And I responded to that person and I said, look, you can think whatever you want to think. And he said, well, statistics prove me right. And you know what? I actually do agree with that person to a degree. I do agree with you that trucking is a highly competitive industry, but there isn't an industry out there that is established that isn't highly competitive. That's the truth. And trucking's no different than that. There's no industry out there that you don't have competition. That's just a fact. And yes, trucking is a very oversaturated industry in a lot of ways. However, that doesn't mean that there's no money to be made. That doesn't mean that you can't have a competitive edge over the competition. It doesn't mean that. And so if you're new to this channel, I appreciate you for being here. But if you're somebody that's looking at trucking as a long-term career path, or somebody that is in trucking but you're not getting ahead with it, this is a good video for you, because a lot of my videos, I'm not talking about just having success as a business owner in trucking. I'm talking about having success as just a driver. How can one of the most common jobs, I do believe trucking is either the most common job or it's in the top 5 of most common jobs in the United States. And so a lot of people do it. So when I make my videos talking about how to get ahead with this career, I'm talking to the masses. Obviously, I know that only about 1% of people that get into trucking are going to actually have success in the business side of trucking. That's just the truth. Most people just want to get in, have a really good job, save for retirement, and live a comfortable life. And you can do that, but you can also get rich in trucking. And that's what I talked about at the beginning of this video, how you can get rich and how you can build true wealth in this industry. And to that guy's point, it is a highly competitive, I guess, oversaturated industry. However, like I said, you can have a competitive advantage. And I'll talk about some of those competitive advantages you can create for yourself, because I have done that. Look, I'm only a 1-truck operation, but I do know that there's a certain way to do things in trucking. And how do I know that? Because I look at the most successful companies in our industry. I work for one of the most successful companies in the entire trucking industry, and the way they do things is the way I want to do things. I want to model my small business after the best businesses out there. That's how you get great, right? Look, I used to play ice hockey. It's the same thing. If you want to be a star player, anybody can play hockey, but not anybody can be great at hockey. Anybody can play football, but not be great at it. There's a lot of players in the NFL, but not all of them become Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady or any great player that you know about. There's a difference, right, between the average player in the NFL and the great player in any league. Business is no different. Being successful at your job is no different. There's a lot of truly successful employees, but most employees aren't successful. That's what I talk about on my channel, right? And that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. I'll talk about how you can separate yourself as just a company driver and be in the top 10% of income earners as a company driver. Also, how to build wealth long-term as a company driver. Then I'll go into what I think about on the owner-op side, and also too the potential as far as growing a fleet and actually building a business within the trucking industry. I'll talk about how I think you can create an edge, give yourself an edge over the masses, right? And that's what you got to do. Look, every industry is competitive. Every industry, I don't care what it is: transportation, medical field, technology, banking. It's all highly competitive. All of it's oversaturated, to be honest with you. But there's about 10% in every industry, in every field, where they're actually having success. Trucking's no different. I see it all the time. Most people I talk to in trucking, I know they're not going to succeed. Most people that watch my videos aren't going to have true success with this. And really, my channel is about talking about what I'm doing to create success and hopefully influencing that small percentage to do better. That's my goal with this channel, to influence as many people as possible to actually make something out of themselves with this career, because there's a lot of people that truck drive. This is one of the most common jobs out there. I believe it is the most common job in the United States. If it's not number one, it's in the top 5 most common jobs. So I'm talking to a large audience when I make my videos. So I'm going to start at the beginning, right? Because I always want to talk to the majority first and then the minority. The majority of people will get into trucking and they will be company drivers, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to have a job. So that I'm talking to about 90%, I would think, of the entire trucking truck driver market, right? And so, but can those people have success? How do you differentiate yourself, or how do you make above average income as just a regular company driver? How do you do that? Is that possible? Well, I always talk about in my videos, look, before you get into trucking, you need to know what you want to do. So to this person that says the market's oversaturated, well, of course, you have to have a niche. You have to have a competitive advantage over the competition. That's what you do in a competitive market. You find an advantage, right? So before you get into trucking, you need to think to yourself, well, if I just go into trucking and do what the majority does, I'm going to get what the majority has. So what do I always recommend? Well, most people that get into trucking don't get their endorsements. Most people don't do that. Most people aren't willing to get experience and train at their company. They're not willing to do that because why? It requires extra risk, extra effort. It's uncomfortable. Well, if you want to make a lot of money, I don't care what you're doing, you're going to have to do what's uncomfortable to, go to the next step, the next level, right? When I got in, I got my experience. And then when they offered my first company, when they offered me to start training, I did it. And look, I didn't just do training for the money alone. Look, I did train to actually teach and put better drivers out there on the road. I did do that. But also too, it was an opportunity to make a lot more money, but also beyond the money, it taught me how to deal with different people, different personalities. And my goal coming in, and I just mentioned that, how you have to have an idea of what you want to do before you come in. I knew I wanted to be an owner-operator, and I knew I wanted to build a business in this industry, and I'm beginning to do that. I'm an owner-operator now, about to buy a second truck, and in order to grow a business, you have to be able to deal with people, different personalities. Everybody's different. So why did I become a trainer? I didn't become a trainer just to make extra money alone. I did make extra money. I made really good money. I made more money training than I ever have in trucking. I did, except for being an owner-op. That's the only other thing I've done where I've made more money than training. And it's a great opportunity financially, but also to learn, like I said, dealing with people, and you get a lot of reward out of it, seeing somebody better themselves, get their CDL, and go on and, have a really good job coming out of school, right? And training with you. But that was a huge experience, right? That was a big experience. I needed to do that to be able to go to the next step, right? And so, but a lot of people are unwilling to do that. Look, training's just one example. A lot of people are unwilling to get their hazmat endorsement. Why? Because it takes a lot more effort. It's a lot more paperwork to deal with hazmat, and the same with tanker, or they don't want to specialize and do flatbed or heavy haul, or learn how to be a car hauler. Or you get the point, right? The point is to do something, go into a market or a niche within a competitive market and separate yourself. How can you make yourself more valuable to the person paying you, your employer or your customer? That's what I always try to think about. How can I become more valuable where I'm at? That's how you make more money in any industry. You got to solve people's problems, right? When you work for a large company, Look, why do they push training? Well, because they need new drivers. They need drivers, so they incentivize you to train so that they can put more drivers out there on the road. That's why you can make more money. Why do they offer more money to people who have their endorsements? Well, because that line of work, there's less of a market for those drivers. You're differentiating yourself from the entire truck driving pool, right? And that's what you want to do. You want to separate yourself from the competition. You will make a lot more money when you do that. 100%. Trucking, not trucking, anything. If you're watching this video and you're not even in trucking, any successful person will tell you that in any field, 100%. So that's number one. You want to make a lot of money as a company driver. You niche down and you find your niche and you specialize, you get really good at it, and you do that, and you'll make 6 figures a year. Now, of course, no matter what company job you have, I don't care what job you have, there is going to be a cap on how much you can make as an employee. That's pretty much any job out there. So if you want to be a business owner, the first step to take is to buy your own truck. There's a lot of ways you can do that. Now, I'm going to tell you how I did it. I'm not telling anybody what to do, but this is what I did. I decided I'm not going to use debt to start a trucking business. I'm not going to go into debt. Why? Because I mentioned earlier about how I study successful companies in this industry, and Crete is the company I'm leased onto, and I have worked for them too as well as a company driver, but I'm leased onto them, and I studied how they did things. I studied that, hey, okay, they run fuel efficient trucks. They're debt free. Everything's debt free. Their properties, their trucks, their trailers, everything's debt free. So what does that mean when you're debt free? Well, that means that their company they can operate at a lower cost than the competition. So they can haul freight for cheaper and still maintain their profit margins and grow their company. They're more competitive than the competition just by being debt free because their costs are lower. So when we're in a good freight environment, Crete is crushing it. When we're in a bad freight environment, Crete is still maintaining and getting through those environments, those cycles. See, I wanted to set up a business in this industry where I could survive any time. I could survive the down times, the mid times, and the up times. I want to be able to thrive no matter what. And that's how you do that. You have a low cost of operation business. So that's what I did. Is everybody going to do it that way? No, but it is the best way to do it. Not saying you have to do that, but that's what I did. And that's what I would tell anybody to do because that's what I did. And so that's how you have a competitive advantage over the competition, over that oversaturated market, which is trucking. Really, in any sector of trucking, dry van, flatbed, reefer, they all have a lot of competition out there. But most companies, most trucking businesses are in debt. Most trucking businesses have very high costs. There's not very many trucking businesses out there that have a low cost of operation. There's just not. And that's why it's so hard for so many to actually have success long-term in trucking. So a lot of these carriers that are here now that are over indebted and over leveraged, they won't be around in 5 years from now. But the ones that have that competitive advantage, that low cost of operation, they will be around. They will not only be around, but they will have grown and captured that market share. And so look, I'm not a huge company. I'm a 1-truck operation, about to be 2, but I'm going to run my business the way other successful businesses run their business in my industry. I can learn from the company I'm leased onto that I've been working for. I can learn from them because if it works for them, it'll definitely work for me. And believe me, it is working for me 100%. So I just want to tell you, look, and not everybody's going to do that. Now, not everybody is going to save up enough money to be able to go in business debt free. Not everybody is going to buy a truck and not be tempted to spend that money that they're making on luxury items and live the life, right? They're not going to be willing to save up and be frugal and buy that second truck. Look, it takes a lot of sacrifice. Moral of the story, it takes a lot of sacrifice. If you want to be successful in anything, you're going to have to go above and beyond what the masses are willing to do. That's what you're going to have to do. Obviously, I know when I make these videos, I already know I already know most people aren't going to be successful at anything. It doesn't matter what it is, trucking, anything. I keep saying that, but it's the truth. It's the truth. You got to think about that. Think about this logically. So why am I making this video? Because again, like I said, my channel is to talk to really like the top 10% of people that think differently than the masses. My channel is not really for the masses in trucking or in general. It's not for the masses. It's for that select few, that percentage of people that do want to do better and that have the right mindset and work ethic. So there you go. If you want to make a lot of money as a company driver, that's what you do. You specialize. You do things other people at your company aren't willing to do. You want to have success long-term as an owner-operator. The most important thing is having a low cost of operation. Yeah, of course, getting good rates, that's important. But in getting good rates, maintaining your equipment, all of that's important, right? Buying the right equipment, all of that's important. But that low cost of operation is everything. Like I said, I would say 90% of companies don't have a low cost of operation. So, I can run for $1.70 a mile, not saying do that, but I can do that and be really profitable, where the company next to me or that owner op next to me, he has to run for $1.90 a mile just to break even. But I'm running for $1.70 a mile and I'm making a lot of profit. Why? Because our costs are lower. So I'm more competitive than he is. Oh, well, you're the reason rates are lower. No, that's just business. You just need to understand that's just how business works. If I can outcompete you and you go out of business, that's not my fault. That's how business works. If someone can outcompete me and I go out of business, hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. You just have to accept the reality. And most people really, they don't have the means. They don't have the situation to even be in business and trucking in anyway. They don't. That's just the truth. If you want to grow a fleet, it's the same thing. I think it's the same thing. Low cost of operation, grow at the pace of cash. And, that's the biggest key in my opinion as far as owner op. Why do I say that? Because I've had enough experience now at it, just based on this last year, to know that that's the way to do it. A lot of people would disagree with me. I don't really care, because most people that disagree with me aren't even running a business anyway. They've never owned a truck. If they have, they failed at it. So, I don't really care what people's opinions are who aren't doing what I want to do, or they're not far ahead of me. Right? If you're not far ahead of me or not doing what I want to do, your opinion about that means nothing, right? And so that's that. And I'm going to end with this. So that's how you have a competitive advantage in trucking. Company, owner op, fleet owner. That's my opinion. The last thing is something I always talk about, and I like to put this in every video because I always have new people watching my channel. So say you're making a lot of money. Say you do that. Say you come in with the right mindset, the right plan, and you're executing that plan and you're making really good money. Well, you got to put your money into something. You need to use that money to get out of debt, have a 6-month emergency fund, personal 6-month emergency fund, and then start investing in assets. And if you're already investing in the trucking business, well, then build your business if that's what you want to do. But I would recommend learning about stock market investing, like what I do. I buy a low-cost total world stock market index. I've been buying that for the last 5 years, and that's my investment vehicle outside of trucking. You need to figure out how you want to invest. Do you want to buy single stocks? Do you want to buy index funds? Do you want to save and buy rental property? What is it that you want to do to build long-term wealth? You need to think about that and put a plan in place for that, because you don't want to put all your eggs in the trucking basket. That's my opinion. I don't do that. I don't think anybody should do that. That's how you kind of hedge yourself against the loss in trucking. Look, you could invest in trucking and lose everything. Well, if you don't put 100% of your money into trucking and that goes bad and you still have that nest egg over there in real estate or in stocks, hey, you got something to fall back on if trucking doesn't work out. That's why I always talk about what I talk about on my channel. It's very simple, but at the end of the day, to end the video, you have to have a long-term plan for your career. and then a long-term plan for your money. And then stick with that plan and don't change it, and just do it, and you will be successful. So that's my video for today. That's how you can get rich and build wealth in a highly competitive, bad, oversaturated industry. That's how you can do that. Like I said, if you're new to the channel, I appreciate you for staying this far if you did. If you're not new, I appreciate you as well for staying this far into the video. If you like the video, sub to the channel. Stay tuned for more videos like this in the future. God bless and peace out.